and I made him watch.
Okay, so what's new?
Not much. Writing more, working on my Whatspad.
Yeah, Wattpad stuff?
Wattpad stuff, yeah, doing some writing.
That's cool.
Doing, you read some earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I'd be writing about.
Oh, man, that stuff was spicy.
That's the term they use, yes.
Ooh, more like smutty.
It means the same thing. It's the same term. It means the same thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Well.
Hello and welcome to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch weird movies and we discuss how weird it really got. I'm your host, Dani Page, and here with me forever and always, my driving daddy to my passenger princess, my husband and filmmaker, Troy Allen. Where are we going today?
Paradise City.
Paradise City, huh?
Yeah, where the grass is green and
the girls are pretty?
Sometimes.
Oh, only sometimes?
Yep. Anyways.
So, I made you watch Possession from 1981. There's a lot to be said about this movie, but to simplify, dude's wife has an affair with a tentacle monster that is slowly turning into the husband's doppelganger. It's an 8 out of 10 movie for me, but shit was weird, man.
Dude, saying the movie was weird, I feel like it's a fucking understatement. This movie was like...
Beaver Dream.
Well... Yeah, kind of. Like, I remember there was a part in the movie where he's reading, like, a postcard or something, and it says something about seeing half of the face of God. This movie is, like, staring into the face of God. Like, the biblical description of, like, an angel, Like, shit's fucked up, bro. Like,
it's weird.
Jesus.
This movie is just something else. It's something all its own. The concept of this movie is absolutely absurd if you really think about it. A couple from West Berlin are going through a divorce. He's a spy. She's a retired ballerina. They also have a son. It's revealed that the wife has been having an affair not only with this sex is God type of guy, but also with a slime creature. The creature could be supernatural, or it could be some sort of alien. Who really knows with the information we're actually given?
Yeah, I just, it was super confusing, the whole movie. Like, I really had no real understanding of what was happening at any given moment. And I felt like there was stuff that had been just, like, cut out. And, like, the movie's kind of, like, piecemealed together to try to keep it flowing.
I think that there's the way that it is shot is that sometimes we get pieces and bits of information that we can kind of allure to of what happened. But I think the way that Zulawski directed it is that the viewer is definitely an outsider to what's happening, and we only get to see what we're allowed to see because that's how relationships are. We only are allowed the information of what is given to us, and we never see what is going on in between the breaks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of liked it that way. Sometimes I like to be able to piece together the things in my own interpretation of a movie. And I like that about this one.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same way of like reading a book, Every reader's interpretation of the book is going to be different,
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So, written and directed by Andrej Zulawski, it's a film that takes you on this bizarre roller coaster of sci-fi horror. Born November 22nd in 1940, Zulawski was a Polish film director and writer. He is best known for this film, 1981's Possession. Zulawski often challenged the mainstream commercialism in his films, finding success primarily with the European art house audience. He was born in Lviv, and he studied cinema in France during the late 1950s. His work includes controversial and imaginative films, collaborations with actors like Romy Schneider, Isabelle Adjani, and Sophie Marcoux,
sure,
as well as several novels. Zulawski was known for his intense, emotional charged filming style, which, boy, did we see it. His works often explored themes of love, obsession, and psychological turmoil. His films were characterized by unconventional camera angles, rapid editing, and visceral performances from his actors. Despite being a controversial figure, Zulawski left a lasting impact on European cinema. His unique vision and dedication to pushing artistic boundaries continue to inspire filmmakers and cinephiles alike. He wrote the screenplay for Possession while he was actually going through his own divorce, which is intense and very personal. He passed away in 2016 due to cancer.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of visceral performances from his actors, you definitely see that in this film.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there is so much emotion and really just humanity in this film. Even without seeing fucking Tentacle Dude, which that is a fucking
we'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
So
when I was telling you, I didn't tell you exactly what we were watching. I think I told you the name of it once, but I don't think you really picked up on it. But I told you that it was weird. But I told you that also the way it is shot and the angles and the shots we get are extremely just intense and amazing.
Yeah.
And I knew and I hope that this changed you a little bit as someone who was a filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean the cinematography of this film was very beautifully done. I love these continuous shots that they did. There was one scene where Mark is sitting in this big room and he's talking to these four guys behind this desk, and it's almost like the camera is moving. Initially I thought it was dollying around him, but then the camera goes complete 360 and you see no dolly tracks.
Yeah.
So that tells me that it was most likely Steadicam. But even then, this being the early 80s, I didn't even think they had Steadicams back in these days. But, Zulawski, most likely being a pioneer, if you will, he probably came up with some sort of, mechanism to do this type of shot. But these, I don't know, the camera angles and stuff you see in this film, I would probably say were hugely inspiring to cinematographers of today.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
So our cucked husband is portrayed by Sam Neill, born Nigel John Dermont Neill on September 14th, 1947, in Omagh, North Ireland. I think it's Omagh.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Is a well-known actor and filmmaker. Raised in New Zealand, Neill has enjoyed a long and varied career in film and television. He first gained attention in the 1981 film Omen 3 in The Final Conflict. However, he is best known for playing Dr. Alan Grant in the blockbuster Jurassic Park from 1993.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, we like us some dinosaurs. A role he reprised in Jurassic Park 3 in 2001 and then Jurassic World Domination in 2022. Neill has also starred in critical acclaimed films like The Piano, Hunt for the Wilder People, and then The Dish. On TV, he has appeared in popular shows such as Peaky Blinders and Merlin. Besides acting, Neill is a director and producer. He also owns the Two Padlocks Vineyard in central Otago, New Zealand, where he makes wine. Sam was looking nice in this movie, by the way. I know that he is insane, and there's a lot of the moments he's in here, he's dirty, but he cleaned up so well, and he looks so good. And the shots where he is stable and taking care of Bob, he looks so nice. He's looking fit. Okay. Also, Neill apparently said that this was one of his personal favorite films he had ever done. He commented on the rigors of filming, saying, "I call it the most extreme film I've ever done in every possible aspect." And he asked, the director asked us things that I wouldn't and couldn't go on about now. I only just escaped the film with my sanity barely intact, which is totally understandable.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, like his just raw emotion that he brings to the screen, like it was very difficult for me to even determine who in this film was actually being, possessed, if it were. And so I give him props for that, for sure. Also, he's in another film that I guess you could call kind of horror in a sense.
Event Horizon?
Event Horizon.
I don't know if I could ever watch Event Horizon ever again. I don't think I can. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
Oh, we should do an intermissions video of the movies I'll never watch again. Because there are a lot that I would never ever watch again.
I need to watch it though, because the stills and stuff that I've seen for the movie, like it looks pretty disturbing.
It's very disturbing. It is. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Our insane and monster-loving wife is played by Isabelle Adjani, born on June 27th, 1955 in Paris, France. She is a renowned French actress known for her powerful performances and emotional depth. She began acting at a young age and quickly rose to prominence with her role in the film The Story of Adele H. in 1975, which earned her an Academy Award nomination. Adjani is celebrated for versatility and intensity, starring in a variety of films that showcase her range. Some of her most notable works include Possession, Camille Claudel, Queen Margot, and The Story of Women. Her role in Camille Claudel won her the Best Actress Award in the Berlin Film Festival, and her performance in Queen Margot earned her the Best Actress Award in the Cannes Film Festival. So she's got him under her belt.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout her career, Adjani has won 5 Caesar Awards for Best Actress, more than any other actress in history. Her contributions to the French cinema have made her one of France's most esteemed and iconic actresses. When she was asked about the filming the movie, Adjani said, "Possession is the only type of film you can do when you are young. He is a director that makes you sink into his world of darkness and his demons. It is okay when you're young because you are excited to go there. His movies are very special, but they totally focus on women as if they are lilies. It was quite an amazing film to do, but I got bruised inside out. It was exciting to do. It was no bones were broken, but it was like, how or why did I do that? I don't think any other actress ever did 2 films with him."
Wow.
I mean, the subway or the miscarriage scene alone really, puts that in perspective of what she's saying about working with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I mean, her role in this film, I don't know, it was almost, scary in a sense, like the subway scene that you were talking about. I didn't pick up that she was having a miscarriage.
That's what is explained in when you read about the movie and stuff. It's explained that it's a miscarriage, and she says in the movie that she had miscarried Sister Faith.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, even that scene, it was so much of a, I don't know, it was like an interpretive dance almost that she was doing, but she was really like thrashing, and like the groceries that she had were just all over the ground, and like she's rolling around in this milk and stuff. It was very intense.
It was, yeah.
Very, very much so.
I cannot leave out our free love, charismatic lover, Henrik, played by Heinz Bennett, born on July 18th, 1921 in Stolzberg, Germany, was a talented actor known for his work in both German and international films. He began his acting career in post-World War II Germany and quickly established himself as a versatile performer. Bennett gained widespread recognition for his roles in films like The Last Honor of Katharina Blum and The Tin Drum in 1979. And throughout his career, Bennett was praised for his ability to bring depth and nuance to his characters. He passed away on October 12th, 2011 at age 90.
Heinrich was a very intense character. I loved it so much. He really gave like Hannibal Lecter vibes, but in a sense of him being, almost like an educated person, like had a sense of class about him.
Well, I mean, Hannibal was an educated person and was classy. I think what you mean is the intensity he gave. It was like two opposite ends of a spectrum versus, the same characteristic traits and charisma, but used in a more positive and more sexual and sensual.
Right. It was more so just the way he kind of carried himself, So, and like you said, the charismatic nature of the character. So, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it though.
Yeah. Produced on a modest budget of approximately $2.4 million, and despite its unique and intense narrative, the film did not achieve major commercial success upon its initial release. I wonder why. It faced mixed views and controversy partly due to its graphic and disturbing content, which limited its mainstream appeal. It was even banned in the UK in the 80s and listed as a video nasty. We're familiar with those. Time Out magazine compared the behavior of Isabelle, Adjani's character, to the actions of a dervish of unrestrained emotion and pure sexual terror. Over time, however, Possession has gained a cult following and critically acclaimed, being recognized for its bold artistic vision and the powerful performance of its leads, Isabelle, Adjani, and Sam Neill. This enduring appreciation has solidified its place as a significant, though initially unappreciated, work in the horror and psychological thriller genres.
Yeah, I could definitely see why, though, like why it was labeled a video nasty. There was definitely some grotesque scenes in the film. I mean, and then there's a scene where we see a lot of self-harm. There's, murder, and then not to mention our grotesque tentacle friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely fits the bill.
Filmed primarily in West Berlin, Germany, during a political tense period when the city was still divided by the Berlin Wall. The city's stark urban landscape provided a fitting backdrop for the film's eerie and unsettling atmosphere. Hauntingly desolate streets and interiors of various apartments, which amplified the sense of isolation and psychological distress experienced by the characters. The production faced challenges due to the intense and controversial subject matter, but the commitment of the cast and crew, particularly Isabelle, Adjani, and Sam Neill, helped bring Zulawski's disturbing vision to life. Here's a little trivia for you that links us back to Alien. Carlo Rambaldi, the famous Italian special effects artist and creator of the alien animatronic head, assist in creating the tentacle creature featured in the film.
Oh, wow.
That explains how, a lot about what we see and what this creature looks like, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see it, though, for sure, because there is a shot where we get to see the creature's face
As it's morphing.
And it definitely reeks xenomorph.
A little bit. It
For
reads,
sure.
yeah, a little bit. That smoothness and the small eyes and stuff.
Yeah, so I can definitely see that for sure. That and the tentacles remind me of the xenomorph's tail, so like, yeah, for sure.
The first 15 minutes of the movie Possession is wild. Not to say the rest of the movie isn't wild, but it's a start. We running out the gate, kind of.
Yep.
We are entered into this world with the establishing shots of West Berlin as Mark arrives home after his latest espionage mission. His wife, Anna, is waiting outside to greet him. The conversation they have already tells us that something isn't right within their marriage. Anna seems reluctant in what she wants in the marriage, and Mark is kind of ignorant of what she's saying and has kind of playing ignorant in a way that seems to force himself back into her life because she's like, I don't know if I want you here. And he kind of just showed up with all his bags and stuff. And he's like, well, I can go do this or that. And she just is frustrated. It's done in a very weaponized ignorance type of way where it seems fine that he's there, but we also can tell by Anna's body language that she doesn't want him back.
Right. Also, we're not given any information about what things were like prior to this. We're also not really given any information about where he was initially, at least. The only thing I really thought at this point was like, oh wow, Sam Neill is in this. Cool. That's cool. So.
Because you had no idea what we were about to watch.
No, I had no clue.
I told you it was going to be something, though. I told you.
Yeah.
I tried to warn you the best I can without giving any details.
Yeah, and I also was thinking to myself, like, wow, these are some really great shots. Like, the cinematography was really good.
I knew that you were going to love the cinematography, whether you really liked the movie or not. I knew the cinematography was going to get you. Also, they have a son named Bob. We see even more of the behavior later that evening as they lie together naked in bed. They have this conversation about what they're going through and that most couples probably go through. There are no real details given at this time, but when Mark asks if Anna is interested in his thoughts and feelings, she simply tells him no, and he confesses that it's the same for him.
Yeah.
As a married couple, and we've been married for almost 17 years now. It'll be 17 years by the time this comes out, I think, actually. If we're laying in bed and we can't have a conversation and we confess to each other that we have no interest of our thoughts and feelings to each other, why are we even here? Why are we even here? Why are we fighting for this anymore?
I don't know.
It's like this struggle. We see them struggling with what they think is probably what the proper thing is to do versus how they're feeling towards each other.
Yeah. I was just like, damn. Like,
it's cold.
Yeah. Are you really interested? Not really. Like, holy fuck, dude. That was pretty wild.
The next day, after a follow-up meeting about his last mission, Mark returns home to an empty apartment. And this is the scene you were talking about him talking to his cohorts or whatever.
Yeah.
About his last message. And there's like the thing about does he still wear pink socks and stuff?
Right.
So it's given that he was telling or was watching or involved with this one man who happens to be like some sort of agent as well. And apparently he was following her, trailing him or something, and they paid him for it. So Mark waits all day for Anna to return until she calls him and tells him that she's downtown and needs time to think. This should really tell you something about the relationship. The fact that Anna is unwilling to be at the apartment, an apartment that she's lived in by herself with her son for a year while Mark is there. Mark then begins to go through Anna's belongings, and he finds a postcard depicting the Taj Mahal that reads, "I've seen half of God's face, the other half is you," sent by a man named Heinrich.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think the concept of seeing God's face is kind of scary in its own way. Like it's almost like seeing something that you're not supposed to see, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the shot or the scene prior to this, when they're in the when he's having that last meeting or whatever, that is the scene that I was talking about, those dolly shots and stuff. And it was just really well done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really enjoyed it.
Do you know the history of the Taj Mahal?
Not really, no.
So the Taj Mahal was commissioned in 1630s by this, an emperor, Shah Jahan,
Mm-hmm.
for his wife, his late wife, Mumtaz Mahal. And the thing is that people think it's like this beautiful gesture of like love and just desire and stuff. But the truth is, it's a tomb. It's her tomb that he erected for her after giving birth to their 14th child. At the time, I think around like the 10th child or something, she began to die pretty much. And the emperor was advised to like not have any more children with her, but he continued to force her to have children until she died. And that's what the Taj Mahal kind of stands for.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Anyway, Mark tries to get Margie, Anne's friend, to spill the deets about Anna's lover, but Margie's like a real one and is like, that's her business. After hanging out with Margie, Anna calls. She reveals that she's with her lover and that she prefers him over Mark in every way. Mark and Anna agree to meet up at a local cafe to talk about things.
I thought that whole scene where Mark's on the phone was super interesting. So you've got this like really dull blue-gray color palette going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the only splash of color is the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The phone is orange. And I was just like, wow, that is such a like intentional choice that you have to make, like to really break up that shot.
Oh yeah, color plays a huge representation in this movie.
Yeah.
You have these moments where you have very blinding whites and neutral and gray colors, and then the next shots are all dark and wet looking and and just very shadowy.
Yeah.
And then you also have how Helen is dressed compared to Anna. Helen is always dressed in white, and Anna tends to be dressed in all these dark clothes, and sometimes they look dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the cafe, things just go downhill. Mark tells Anna he doesn't want to see Bob anymore, and Anna's like, that's fucked up. And it is. The two get into a heated argument to the point that Mark is throwing a tantrum, and Anna says that if I had known he was in this world, I would have never had Bob with you. And Mark has a full-blown tantrum after that, and we're talking knocking over dishes from tables, throwing chairs, and chasing Anna until the staff of the cafe have to restrain Mark.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, make a scene, why don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's pretty wild.
And it's crazy how intense his reaction is to this, because just the other night he was saying he wasn't interested in her thoughts or feelings.
Yeah.
They both were like, we don't have any more interest.
Yeah, it's like, she doesn't love you, bro.
And then
Get over it.
Yeah, and then he finds out that, she's obviously moved on and just, he can't handle it. And it's another way of how we see possession in this movie, is how he wants to possess Anna so much, and he just pretty much throws himself away into this.
Yeah.
A few days pass and we see Mark struggling, and I'm not sure how to even describe these next few scenes. Mark is just out of it. It looks like though he hasn't washed himself. His clothes are dirty. They're ripped, and he's making these weird phone calls, rolling around in bed, and just pitiful. Mm-hmm. And just having a full breakdown over a woman who doesn't want him and who he claims to have lost interest in as well.
Yeah, initially, because it's almost like immediately after the cafe scene, that scene cuts, and we're presented with this scene, which is him waking up with like a full on, like a beard. Mm-hmm. He's disheveled, just been wallowing in his own filth, for God knows how long. Mm-hmm. But initially, it's not explained that there was a time jump, so that was very jarring. I was just like, what the fuck just happened? I had no idea what was going on.
Well, it's revealed that Mark has been at a hotel room for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He then wanders home to discover that Bob has been left alone. He's covered in dirt and jelly. He explains that Anna said that she would be right back but never return. Bob also called Margie, but she just told the kid to be brave because she's got a broken leg. So it's not even revealed how long Anna has been gone.
Right.
It looks and appears as though it's been probably at least a few days.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got jelly all over his fucking face. Mm-hmm. And, that poor kid.
Yeah. It's the apartment's dirty. He's dirty. He's cut, it's disgusting.
Yeah. At this point, I was like, this is just a more disturbed version of Marriage Story. Except Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson are
insane.
Mm-hmm. And she's fucking a tentacle, dude.
Marriage Story is so good. It's so sad. And we're only 16 minutes into this movie at this point. And this is a 2-hour movie. Mm-hmm. Bob shows Mark a boat he received from Uncle Heinrich. Mark then noticed that Bob is really thin. I think this is when he's looking at how frail and how, tiny his son is. Then we have the rocking chair scene. Mark is throwing it way back in the rocking chair, just full on out of his gourd. Anna shows up with groceries and tries to explain that she's normally on time. Like, woman, your son has clearly been left alone for a few days. It's not weeks.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, you ain't on, you ain't late. You didn't come back. Mm. You went out to get the milk and then disappeared for 30 years. It's like, bro, does he even have a mom anymore? I don't think so.
Mark then tries to persuade Anna to leave her lover and to come back to her family. He wants her to just call the guy up and tell her to break up with him, and she refuses, saying she has to see him face to face to do it, which makes sense. And it's just so absurd and so dramatic that these two people are forcing themselves to go through. Mark finally says, if you want to stay, make that call. Also, Mark is still looking nasty. He's still in the suit from weeks before, and it is so nasty. And it's just it's a visual representation of his mind and his thoughts.
Yeah. 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 Although Bob had a pretty cool fucking boat.
It was a pretty cool boat. Yeah, that boat was pretty cool. Boat, yeah.
And apparently it was given to him by Uncle Heinrich.
Yeah.
So kudos for Heinrich for stepping up and being that baby's pappy.
Yeah, trying to win that kid over, I guess.
Yeah.
Anna continues to have a mental break as Mark tries to convince her to stay with him. When Mark then undresses and puts Anna to bed. In the next scene, Mark is abruptly awoken by the phone ringing. Anna is no longer in the bed next to him, and on the phone is Heinrich, and tells Mark that Anna is with him and will be staying with him. Anna did leave a note that says, "My love, I had to go talk to Margie, so I would never hurt you again, my love."
Yeah, and this is where the movie starts to get confusing because it's like, okay, he just put her to bed and now he's waking up and she's not there anymore, and then some other shit happens. Yeah. It's so confusing.
Mark calls Margie then and gets a number to call Anna. Mark then calls Heinrich, and his mother answers and tells Mark that her son is not there and she hasn't seen Anna in weeks. The next day, Mark takes Bob to school and sees Bob's teacher, who just so happens to look identical to Anna.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you can't just put your hands on the teaching lady just because she looks like your wife. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Which at first I was like, dude, she has a striking resemblance to
No,
Anna.
it's the same person. It's the same actress.
Yeah, I didn't learn that until later, but like, yeah, that's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Mark finds Henrik's home and declares that he's there for Anna, but Anna's not there. Mark and Henrik have this moment together. It's obviously that Heinrich is very much the poly type. The way he talks and touches Mark, he's trying to be very intimate and soothing and try to actually have like this conversation and logical conversation beyond what Mark is just feeling and his emotions.
Yeah.
Henrik explains that he's never forced Anna to do anything and didn't want her to leave Mark. And when Mark tells him that they spoke on the phone, Henrik is like, I just got back in town, but these details are just brushed off by Mark.
Yeah.
And through these scenes, as they're moving through Heinrich's home, Heinrich is constantly talking and constantly trying to communicate with Mark. And Mark is just so focused on finding his wife and the betrayal and all the negativity. He's too much in his mind.
Yeah.
He's not taking a moment to actually think and process. It's just action.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Heinrich was like, yeah, man, I just got back into town, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, he just talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And said Anna was there. So, something crazy's afoot.
Yep. It's, and at this point, it's kind of like, oh, Anna already has a new lover, pretty much, which, it's not wrong. Anna, after a while, Mark tries to attack Heinrich, but Heinrich kicks his butt. Even after Heinrich picks Mark off the floor, Mark tries to strangle him. Heinrich then proceeds to carry Mark from his home and was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean, Mark is pretty bloodied at this point. It's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm. And those moves that Heinrich had were pretty fancy. Yeah. And you would think Mark, being a espionage agent, a secret agent, he would have a little more self-defense.
Oh yeah, he's no James Bond.
Nah.
No, absolutely not.
Back at home, Mark confronts Anna about where she's been. At first, she tells him that she was at Margie's, like she said in her note. Mark's like, nah, called her, you weren't there. And then she says she was with him, or Heinrich, and we all know that's not true. As Mark berates Anna for not being a good wife or mother, Anna has a meltdown and confesses that Mark disgusts her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not a pretty sight.
No. You clearly can see the struggle Anna is having inside her and inside her mind. The fight continues, getting more heated as Anna tries to gather her things and flee. At one point, Anna says she'd rather open a window and jump than be there in the apartment with him. Mark asks her, do you need him that much? And she replies, yes. Mark then screams, fuck your needs. And Anna slaps the shit out of this man. Mark tells her to do it again, and Anna just laughs at him. She tries to flee the apartment, and Mark chases her down and begins to beat her.
Yeah. That's pretty, not a pretty sight.
No, it's very intense. It's very violent. And it's just this absurd need to control her and to have her there for some reason.
Yeah.
Because she's clearly not mentally well. No. Clearly. As soon as Mark gets tired of it Anna flees the apartment. Mark continues to chase after her, yelling and calling her a bitch. He chases her into the street and he threatens to follow her. And she tells him, don't even try, as blood is pouring from her mouth. Anna's almost hit by a truck and kind of goes into this trance and storms off. Mark watches her for a second and then starts to play soccer with a group of kids.
I don't know if he was trying to play with them or more so like get them out of his way. I don't know. That whole scene.
But he kicks the ball.
He does kick the ball. But yeah, the scene where she almost gets hit by the truck and then those fucking cars fall off the back of the truck, that was wild.
Oh, yeah.
That was wild.
So Margie shows up, and there's this really weird relationship between Mark and Margie. Like, she says that she loves seeing him miserable. And anyway, Mark then hires a private eye to follow Anna. Mark returns home where Margie has been watching Bob, and it's implied that Margie and Mark have like an affair, I think. Anna arrives the next morning, and as she's trying to prepare food, Mark starts a fight. Mark calms down with his questioning, and Anna is able to just answer yes or no questions. Then, for some insane reason, Anna takes an electric knife to her throat. The next few scenes, as Anna has what I can only explain as a mental break, it's very triggering.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the electric carving knife, I was like, oh, she's gonna do something with that knife. And then she tried to use it on herself, and I was like, I fucking knew it. Fucking knew it.
It's very... the feeling of watching someone go through this, even though it is a movie and stuff, but if you've ever had like mental problems or mental distress and stuff, it's very triggering. It's very emotional to watch.
Yeah.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
After bandaging Anna up, Mark then cuts himself with the same electric knife in solidarity, I guess. Anna is then like, I'm out of here once again.
Yeah, it's never explained why he cuts himself with the knife. It was at this point in the movie where I really couldn't tell who was possessed and who wasn't. Because at this point, they're both fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, dude, maybe they're both possessed. You know, at that point, I was like, I don't fucking know anymore.
So we get a few shots of the private eye following Anna around. The private eye follows Anna into a much rougher looking neighborhood and into this rundown apartment building. The private eye contacts Mark and lets him know where Anna is been staying. The building, by the way, gorgeous. The doors to the apartment are just breathtaking. It's a lovely space that definitely just has so much potential. The private eye then goes into the apartment after ringing the doorbell a few times and almost knocking the door down with these knocks. He was just banging on that door. The little creep just walks into the apartment, and Anna is waiting for him, and she's a little shaking and scared. I wonder why. The detective says he's with the building management, and there's a broken window somewhere, and he needs to check it out. He goes from room to room and looks for the window. He then says that he needs to check the bathroom, and Anna starts acting even more strange. And she says there's no window in the bathroom. And he's like, I still gotta check. Yeah. This dude,
so as the PI dude is following her, she gets onto the metro or whatever, the train. She sits next to a homeless dude. The homeless dude helps himself to a fucking banana out of her grocery bag, which I was like...
She's sleeping. She's asleep.
Yeah, but she's got her sunglasses on, so you can't really tell. But that happens, and then this PI is, like, right behind her, like, following her.
They're not very good detectives and PIs.
Yeah, I was like, this dude is the worst fucking PI I've ever seen. And then, we get to see why Anna is acting all strange.
In the bathroom, the detective discovers what I could only really describe as a blobby-like tentacle monster thingy. It's kind of like this blood clot that's kind of stuck on the wall. Like, it's not a very big thing. It's got the tentacles right now, but it's mostly a dark red blob.
Yeah.
And I think there's like one eye at this point. Anna then stabs the detective with a broken wine bottle.
Yep. Yeah. You can't really make out very many details of the tentacle monster thingy at this point. But yeah, at this point, especially after Anna stabbed him with the wine bottle, I was like, it's definitely her. She's the possessed one. She's the one hanging out with the damn thing.
Yep. Back at home, Mark seems to be taking to being a very good stay-at-home dad pretty well. Bob's teacher shows up and wants to talk about Bob, and while Mark hands off the responsibilities of watching Bob to the teacher, Heinrich decides to show up. He just really wants to know where Anna's been, and the dramatics of this man. This whole scene, him twirling around and throwing his body against the wall and stuff, and talking to Mark, and Mark's kind of like, right, man, okay, sure, pretty much.
Yeah, but he's drunk though, isn't he? Yeah, so like
drunk or high.
Yeah, something. I mean, he's definitely, on something, but.
And he also tells Heinrich where Anna is. He gives him the address the private eye had given him. Yeah. Finally, Heinrich leaves. Mark and Bob have a conversation about who they like more, Anna or Helen, who is the teacher. Helen sticks around a little bit and helps clean and tells Mark about Bob's problems at school. And apparently, Bob has been having trouble with the nap time. Like, he'll go to sleep and then he wakes up screaming, and then he'll go back to sleep, and then when he wakes up, he doesn't remember anything. Mark kind of ignores this and complains about women, and Helen sets him right, kind of. It was a very weird... It was like he wasn't really listening to Helen at all.
No, and he's... I don't know, like, he was doing so well being a stay-at-home dad, and then he's just kind of like, yeah, no, fuck that kid. What I want to know about is, why are women like the way they are?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, dude, obviously your son's got some issues.
So Helen and Mark sleep together, and during the night, Bob has a screaming fit like the one Helen explains he's been having at school, and Mark is able to calm him down and put him to bed. And then Helen leaves. The PI boss, Zimmerman, I do believe, shows up at Bob's school and talks to Mark. He explains that the detective that was telling Anna has gone missing. Mark lets him know that the address and that he's not really interested in trailing Anna anymore. And the PI then reveals that it's more personal now because he lives with a detective that is now missing.
Yeah, which it's not really, or at least I didn't pick it up, but before this, it's not really explained that the PI that was telling Anna that they were like, a couple, that him and Zimmerman were a couple.
Well, he mentions it to Mark.
Right, but was that during the meeting before when Mark initially meets him?
No.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, at this point, prior to this, it wasn't explained.
No.
That they were a couple. Yeah.
But this is to explain why the boss is really more worried.
Right.
About him.
Yeah.
And wants to look into him like personal.
Right.
Zimmerman then goes over to Anna's, and he is about to go into the apartment building, and she's coming out. So he walks off kind of awkwardly, and once she's out of the way, he heads into the building and into her apartment. So in this scene, he walks into the entrance of the apartment. Anna is there, and how she's shot it really is so dark, and she's wearing such dark clothes. All you see is really her face and her hand, and it's very eerie, and she looks shocked. And he kind of backs off and walks down the street a little bit more, and then the camera pans back, and he goes into the building, and the camera keeps panning, and there's no one on the street.
Yeah.
So When he goes into the apartment, Anna is there, washing the floor. She's cleaning the floors and catches the guy sneaking around, and they have this strange and intense conversation, and Anna tells Zimmerman that he's in there, which I think he thought she was talking about the detective he's looking for. But she's not talking about that. He looks into the room and finds the slimy tentacle monster. It's now evolved a little bit. It's longer. It's the tentacles are longer. It looks more. It's not even human really yet at all, but it's looking probably the size of a child with like tentacles and a face and stuff. Anna explains that the monster is tired after making love to her all night. Ugh. Zimmerman sees the detective's body, Emmanuel's body, in the corner, and Zimmerman and Anna fight until she grabs his gun and shoots him. So he reaches down and touches Emmanuel's leg, and then, grabs his gun, turns, screams Emmanuel's name, and then fires, not even aiming, and, just misses completely. And then Anna, her body tenses up and her eyes kind of, roll back. And I believe that the monster is controlling Anna. Mm-hmm. And that's when Anna, starts to hit the man.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember, did he take the rag from her? Or was she hitting him with the rag?
Hitting him with the rag.
Okay, yeah, because she was whooping his ass with that.
He was, as soon as she's, the monster has control, she just kind of goes berserk. Yeah. And just starts to hit and flare at him with just her body and stuff. Not really looking or grabbing a weapon right away. But then somehow she grabs his gun and then shoots him. Back at Mark's, a film has been dropped off at his house by Heinrich. The film is of Anna instructing a ballet class. In the class, Anna is forcing one of the young ballerinas to push herself until she's crying. And then when Anna praises one of the other students, the girl runs away. Anna goes into this monologue about how the girl will do better now and just some ranting it's very bizarre. And there's more of Anna's bizarre ranting for the rest of the film as Mark watches. She has this whole rant about chance and faith and chance and faith, and she's she doesn't understand what she's saying or how she's supposed to say it, and that she's being looked at as though she has an empty space needing to be filled.
Yeah, she's just speaking in circles at this point.
Yeah, she's
with not really any coherent.
Back in the present, a manic Anna begins to destroy the already chaotic apartment. She's picking up clothes and putting them in the refrigerator, taking all the food out of the pantry. There's books and stuff. There's papers all over the ground. There's toys everywhere. It's just going crazy. Mark starts to go a little crazy again as Anna continues to just be fucking nuts and begins to have this weird thing with her hands. And Mark suggests that they just sit peacefully. And Anna begins to blame herself for everything. And I personally think that when Anna, this is my theory, I personally think that when Anna is away from the monster, it causes her to have mental breaks. It causes her to spread the madness to Mark and Bob. She has, by being around and being with the monster, it has kind of implanted itself inside her. And she even says that it's inside her a few times.
Yeah.
And when she's there at the apartment and away from the monster, she acts out on these crazy impulses and stuff, which causes it spreads to Mark and even to Bob a little bit, like an infection almost. So when she's there, it's chaotic and just insane. And then when she's away, Mark and Bob tend to have a very normal existence.
Yeah. It's almost when she's rubbing her hands together like that. It's almost like she's trying to get out of them or something, or she's trying to, I don't know, clean herself or something. I don't know. It's weird.
It is. It's a very strange movement. Next, we have the infamous miscarriage scene. This is one of the scenes that the movie is really known for. As her and Mark are sitting together, we witness a flashback as Anna stares up at a crucified Jesus inside a church. And she's like struggling and kind of moaning up at it. It's very, very strange. She then heads to the subway and just has a breakdown. She's laughing to herself, throwing her head back, her body around this tunnel is just going batshit crazy. And this is the scene that Possession is known for the milk and the eggs all over the place, and then her like in the trash, and then she's like foaming at the mouth, and blood and pus and stuff is leaking from her orifices, and it's insane. It's this very intense and dramatic scene.
Yeah.
And it's revealed after that she says that she has miscarried Sister Faith. Kind of like, I'm not sure if this is, I think it wasn't Mark's child, I think it was the alien's child that she had miscarried. Yeah.
I just remember thinking, like, imagine you're in a fucking subway and you're like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're down there by yourself or whatever waiting on a train, and you just hear this woman fucking like laughing maniacally down this fucking subway tunnel or whatever.
Just
like,
throwing herself around.
Dude, that would be so fucking disturbing. Just like that scene was. That scene was so fucking disturbing.
It was.
Yeah.
So after she reveals this, Anna rushes off again. Mark then calls Heinrich's and leaves Anna's new address with Heinrich's mother. Okay, so this is when Heinrich gets the address. Heinrich then shows up on a motorcycle and meets with Anna at the new apartment. They start to fool around a little, and it's like Anna can't decide if she wants to be with Heinrich or not. And they move things into the bedroom when Anna catches sight of the monster. And Heinrich notices what she's noticed, and he goes over to inspect the creature. And when he makes eye contact with the creature, he goes blind, it seems, and he's like reaching out, trying to find Anna. And she starts to flee. So he kind of goes blind, and she kind of moves out of the way and leads him to the kitchen area. And now he can see again, apparently, and she's like opened the refrigerator, and it reveals the head of the detective. And hands and stuff. And also in the hallway, along the hallway, we see bags of parts.
Yeah.
She starts to stab Heinrich, and he flees the apartment. Outside, he phones Mark at home, and Mark's agreed to meet with Heinrich at a local bar in the area.
Yeah. At this point, I was like, it's almost like she's a Black Widow of sorts. She's just luring people into her lair. But not for her, for the monster.
Yep.
For the monster to feed on or whatever.
I don't know if the monster is feeding on them. I think she's protecting the monster more than anything. I don't think the monster eats the people.
Yeah.
Too many parts.
Yeah. At this point, I was like, maybe Heinrich should go to the hospital.
He's stabbed like in his
he's bleeding pretty profusely.
Well, what's right here? She kind of stabs him in the side of his armpit.
Yeah, I know there is an artery in there. Yeah.
So instead of going straight to Heinrich, Mark goes to Anna's apartment. He discovers the body parts and heads of Anna and the monster's victims. Mark has a bit of a breakdown. And Mark then turns the gas stove on and leaves to go meet Heinrich at the bar. Heinrich explains what he saw at the apartment, and Mark continues to gaslight Heinrich and even goes as far as to accuse Heinrich of the murders.
Yeah, like the whole scene is kind of weird. Like, Heinrich gets sick, and then he goes and he's like puking in the fucking sink and stuff. It's pretty bizarre.
I think Mark sees this as an end back into Anna's life. He sees this as an opportunity to do something that Heinrich cannot do, and that is to cover up the murders for his wife. and even go as far as killing someone for his wife.
Hmm.
So Mark ends up killing Heinrich. He knocks him out unconscious and then stuffs his head into a clogged toilet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He then goes back to the gas-filled apartment and blows it up and steals Heinrich's motorcycle. Yep. When he arrives home, he discovers a fatally wounded Margie who has had her throat cut. He takes her back up into the apartment, hiding her body in the bathroom. Anna is waiting for him and cleans all the blood from his body, and then they have crazy people sex.
Yep. Yep, poor Margit.
Margit.
Get murdered. That sucks.
They then come to an agreement that the monster needs to be protected like a child. It's not like they have a child already that needs protecting. Oh, wait.
What is it with kids in horror films being named Bob?
I don't know. It must have been like the late 70s, 80s thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think just maybe a little lazy.
Probably.
Yeah. Anna leaves again to go to the monster. Mark then begins to get rid of Margie's body. That night, Heinrich's mother calls Mark and tells him that Heinrich is missing and that Mark was a jealous man and all that. And the phone call was kind of hard to understand, and it's very soft. Mark then dumps Bob off with Helen to watch while he and Anna go off and do whatever they're planning to do.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned it yet, but Helen and Anna are played by the same actress.
Yeah, I did mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But Helen, she's wearing like these green contacts.
Yeah.
They're like bright green.
Yes.
And like they're almost, I don't know, her eyes are almost like hypnotic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strange.
Mark then goes to the detective in PI's house that Anna and the monster are now hiding out at because they've killed the guys that lived there together. Mm-hmm. Mark then witnesses Anna having sex with the monster.
Bro.
Get into it. Go ahead.
That was so fucking wild. And I was like, bro, Tentacle Dude is giving Anna the time of her life. Bro, like... And Mark was like, oh no. Like, it was like kryptonite to him.
At first, yeah. And then being around the monster makes you go insane. And he kind of accepts what he's seeing and even watches for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it was fucking crazy. I don't even know what to say about that.
The monster has this power over people. Mm-hmm. That when it comes close to it, either can, coax you into caring about it or just make you go fucking insane. Mm-hmm. So it's something, it's very psychological. It's crazy. It's eerie. It's disgusting in a way. Mark heads over to Heinrich's mother's house now, and he lets her know that Heinrich's dead and that he's found Anna. And they have a little heart-to-heart talk, and then she takes a handful of pills. She says not to worry about her because she doesn't want to be there if Heinrich's not around anymore.
Yeah, so she just kind of checks out, mm-hmm. more or less, and that's the story of how like Heinrich's entire bloodline was just fucking.
Well, he has a wife and a daughter in Cincinnati. Remember?
Oh, mm-hmm. Well, good for them.
Yeah, they're far away from all this.
Yeah. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. The next day, Mark is hounded by the KGB, I guess.
I don't think it would be KGB.
I don't know what it would be.
KGB would be Russians.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably like MI5.
Yeah.
Or...
it's Germany, though.
Yeah, but he's not German.
No, he's
British.
This
is also West Berlin.
Yeah.
So
who knows? It's some secret agency or whatever.
The circus.
Yeah. And they want him back in action. On the way back to see Anna, Mark watches two cops pull up to the house. He then pulls a gun on a taxi driver and demands him to crash into the police cars, jumping out at the last minute. Mark has a shootout with the few cops, and he's shot but able to flee.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck was that about? Crashing the taxi into a cop car, and then Mark just gets shot the fuck up.
It was a distraction for them to come away from the house, so if Anna needed to get out of there, she could.
Yeah, but he literally just went to, I don't know, it was like he was trying to get the car out. You remember the car that you put Margie's body in?
Yeah.
So
He was just trying to cover his tracks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That was super strange.
He then crashes Heinrich's motorcycle and flees to his apartment. Anna then shows up with a man trailing her. The man looks exactly like Mark. This Mark is the monster fully healed and grown. Mark pulls out his gun and points it at the monster, but then is fired upon by the police or the secret agents or whatever. No bullets hit the doppelganger, but Anna and the OG Mark, then they're like bleeding and gross on each other at the top of these stairs, and they crawl into each other's arms and kiss, and then Anna shoots herself in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the doppelganger Mark then escapes from the cops. He sees this young woman at the top of the stairs of the apartments and then hands her a gun and tells her to shoot the cops. And she smiles and kind of takes it. He then uses her body as a ladder to escape as OG Mark pulls himself off the ledge of the stairs and falls to his death.
Yeah, I was like, that's a hell of a way to go out, dude.
Mm.
You just kind of fucking Evel Knievel yourself off the damn fucking stairs. And he falls for like a good...
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of stairs.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So back at the teacher's house, who still has Bob, someone is ringing the doorbell, and Bob's like, don't open it. And Helen then goes to the door, and we can see the silhouette of the doppelganger waiting for her. Bob continues to say, don't open, as he rushes up the stairs to the tub and throws himself in, drowning himself. We hear rockets and planes as Helen stands in front of her door, and the movie fades to black.
Yeah, I was like, Bob told you not to open it. He told you, and now he's up there trying to off himself in the damn tub.
Well, it's the monster. It's the power of the monster.
I know.
And if you notice, the doppelganger Mark also has the green eyes.
I did not notice.
Has the green eyes, like the doppelganger of Anna has green eyes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So does that... Well, I wonder if that means that the doppelganger Mark isn't the first.
Mm.
You know, but I don't know. It's never really explained.
No, and that's you're up to your own interpretations of this movie.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
The movie Possession explores the intense themes of emotional and psychological breakdowns within the troubles of a marriage. At its core, the film delves into the destructive power of obsessed love and disintegration of personal identity. It portrays how the characters' extreme emotions and inner turmoil manifest to increasingly bizarre and horrifying ways, symbolizing their internal chaos. This movie also touches on the theme of infidelity, guilt, and supernatural, blurring the lines between reality and madness. Ultimately, Possession is a gripping examination of the dark and disturbing sides of human relationships. There are some people who theorize that the monster in this movie actually does not exist. That it's an example of the fight and struggle of their marriage.
Yeah.
So you can interpret it in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think the monster was there. I think the monster was real.
Yeah. Otherwise, then, like, those other people that were in the apartment, they saw something.
True.
You know, so I think the monster had to have existed.
Mm-hmm.
So
how do you feel after watching Possession?
Oh man, that's one of the strangest movies I've seen. I feel like it was really hard to discern what was happening at any given moment. Having seen it, I would say it's, I don't know, like it definitely needs to be protected as a film.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many films like that.
No.
I feel like. So
there are many art films that, you know, push the envelope and push the psyche of someone. And I mean, you can look at like The Shining, which is also a horror, a psychological horror as well, and also like a ghost story and a haunted house thing. But you have the way that how Kubrick pushed Shelley Duvall, and how that affected her in her life.
Yeah.
Because that was one of those movies where the director really pushed and wanted a visceral response.
Yeah.
I like a good movie like that, but also feel like sometimes we have to be careful with how we push our psyche and our mind as humans, you know?
Yeah, I mean, obviously these actors that portray these roles and stuff, they're real people. You know, and a lot of times being an actor, you dive so deep into being a character that if you're not careful, you could lose yourself
And get lost
in this character. You know, and you start you know, blurring the lines between what's real and what's not. You know.
Well, I hope this moved something within you. I hope it showed you something as a filmmaker, you know.
Yeah.
The cinematography alone, if not the way the movie is carried out and the characters that were made.
Yeah. Overall, though, I would probably give this movie an 8 out of 10.
That's what I gave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would watch it again if the mood came across, for sure.
Oh yeah, there's always something that you in these type of movies. There's something new you catch every time you watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching it with me.
Yeah. No problem. It was my pleasure. Anyways, I think that's all we have time for today.
Yeah, that's it.
So, as always, if you like this episode, be sure to leave us a review, give us a follow. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
anywhere you stream
anywhere
podcasts.
you can find your podcasts. From us here at And I Made 'Em Watch, stay spooky.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode of And I Made 'Em Watch, where Dani and I delved into the world of the 1981 film Possession starring Sam Neill. My technical prowess and Dani's research brought this episode to life, complemented by the captivating music from Tori Wolf and Epidemic Sound. As we wrap up, be sure to keep your popcorn bowls at the ready for our next episode, where we'll be exploring Cemetery Man, starring Rupert Everett. More cinematic adventures await, so stay spooky.